What have I learned this term? Well, the first thing I've learned this term is I relearned how to set up a camera. It's something that obviously I did last year, but it was good to go over that again to get that really knowledge inside my head, because obviously it is quite easy to forget stuff when you haven't done it for a long time. Other things that I've done is like I pieced a camera. I've never done that before. I don't know too much about doing it before I obviously did it. So going out and doing that was something really positive for me to learn. And then if we look at the challenge faced while I've been, out recording, for example, and while I've been doing this workshop, I think the biggest challenge for me is having, the confidence going into like the city centre and setting up a camera and recording, because obviously it can be quite intimidating if you go into a town and it's busy, people are looking at you, people are talking about you maybe, but sometimes you just got to ignore it or just roll with it really. And I think I've learned to do that this term, and I'm more confident with the camera and definitely in front of the camera like I am now. More challenges that I faced, I think it's been difficult sometimes, like getting the right shot. Say when I've done my piece to cameras, I've had to do multiple shots and I've struggled, I've slipped up because I'm not the best speaker, I don't think. But I think once you do it a lot more, I'll get a lot better at it, which is hopefully what I will do. And also my camera angles, my light haven't been the best at times this term. And that's something I definitely really want to improve on in the future, and maybe over the summer. Not just for like this workshop, but for like extracurricular work I do and all basically. And outside the workshops, I've done quite a lot this term. I tend to do a lot of extra activities involving sports. So I've been to Lincoln City a few times and set up cameras and recorded the game. I've done that. Done a lot of work at Gainsborough Academy. We've gone to games, set up the camera, recorded the whole game, having to move the camera about, getting used to zooming in, zooming out, when to stop recording, how to save battery, because that's something I didn't really think that was going to be sort of like a problem. You have to think about these things, about how much battery you're going to need, your SD card, maybe you might need more than one SD card depending on how much you're going to record. So setting that all up, making sure that I had the right equipment and going out is definitely something new I've done this year, because I think last year it was more the sense you're in first year, so I think you got a lot of help with extracurricular activities, like the second or third years will take out all the cameras for you and you just turn up. Whereas this year we're much more sort of on our own, independent of everyone else, and I do quite like that. You can do your own thing and it allows you to sort of regain your knowledge and redo your knowledge that you've learnt in your workshops in real time, and it's really good for assessments as well to do extracurricular activities, which I've learnt this year. And then my story idea for my package, it actually was quite funny how it came about. I was sort of doing another story, and the other story was about the Eat Out to Help Out, and this guy, and it was about this fitness guy, and I wanted multiple interviews for it, so I ended up getting another interview. And this guy came talking. He kept talking about how fitness is coming online, and I thought that would be a really interesting story, because obviously more people like fitness. People like the gym. A lot of people go to the gym. A lot of people go out and play sport outside. So I thought the viewers would be very much interested in that story, because it's telling you how sort of to it's telling the viewer obviously about these new online sessions. And what you're going to see as a viewer, you're going to see, you're going to see me, but you're going to see a piece to camera that I've done, which is over a minute long, followed by a nice interview with a bloke called Paul, who I sorted out. And I've also got, from doing those interviews, I did an interview, not for this module, but for a different module, with this fitness director. And it was quite funny how it came about. He actually sort of offered work experience next year. He works for media for his business, and I thought that was a real weird situation to get into, to get interviews out and get a contact, and that contact's potentially gotten me a professional work placement for next year, which should be very good. So it proves what you could do not just on this module but for all modules, when you get yourself out there. I think personal areas of improvement over the summer is definitely confidence. I think even now you can tell right now I think I've got a lot better, but I'm still a bit, side to side, moving. I stumble sometimes, but I carry on. And maybe before I would have just stopped the recording, but now I'm more confident in myself in front of a camera. But definitely over the summer, I think I'm going to be working on my sound. Focus is definitely something I want to work on when working with cameras, and making sure I get the right shots and getting the right interviews. Not settling for standard sort of shots and interviews, because I think that's sometimes what I do. I feel like I'm running out of time, and I feel like I better hand something and then nothing, which I guess is true, but at the same time, you want to go out and get the best you can. If you're travelling, for example, where I travel all the way to Gainsborough, which is half an hour away, you want to make sure you get the best possible interview for your news clips, otherwise, it sort of defeats the purpose of going all the way there. I think overall this year, this term, for this module, it's been very positive, because I think TV is probably the one that will really be more than radio out of the two, broadcast production areas, because obviously with radio it is very much easier because you can sort of do it over the phone or do it, you don't have to see the other person. But then when you meet somebody new, even on Zoom, you meet somebody new, it can be quite intimidating to meet new people, especially people who are much older than myself, which I have interviewed. But I have enjoyed it this term. I have enjoyed going to the workshops. I have enjoyed going out, because I think it's been very practical this term. We've been, there was some weeks where we'd go in and Chris would just say, oh, you're going out, and that was quite of a surprise, but I think it was quite good, because I think I don't know about everyone, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. I learn very well in an environment where I'm going out and I'm being practical. And that was really good, because I think maybe if I ever get a job in journalism, which I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't, that's what it'll be like. You'll go in and then it'll be unexpected. You'll be like, oh, you have to go out and get a story, we need a story, and obviously you'll have to go out and find one yourself. And I think that was very hard though, that session when we went out and we recorded, or we were looking for a story. I think that was probably the hardest session, because it was sort of random. I wasn't expecting it. I was sort of expecting to go in and learn like a PowerPoint or something, or I don't know. And we sort of went out and we ended up walking Steep Hill and ended up finding a story, which was quite good. And it actually tells you when you put your mind to it, you can find a story. So I think last year, when I was trying to find stories for my assessments, I find it very difficult for ideas. But then when you actually go out and you put your mind to it and you're put under pressure really, because you're given sort of like a time restraint, your mind sort of finds that story. And I think I ended up doing that quite well. But again, for next year, obviously it's the third year, it's going to be a lot harder, so I think I'm going to set myself better standards. As I said before, focus is very, very important. And also location, I feel like this year, maybe because of COVID, I haven't been able to do the best piece to camera location-wise. I think maybe I could do a better, maybe outside a gym or something like that. But again, it's about that confidence, to go outside a gym and start recording. Even to do a piece to camera, I mean, shots I'm okay with, but standing in front of a camera outside of a gym is sort of a new challenge for me, in a sense. But no, it's something to work for, which is always good, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but I think what I'm actually going to do over the summer as myself is get involved in sport over the summer. Get involved in sport over the summer. Cricket's coming around, I'm a big cricket fan. Maybe go out and record local Premier League matches in Leicestershire. There's a lot of good teams around me, like, I don't know, Chris will know, like Selby, Barrow, places like that, who have really good cricket teams, and with a lot of county players as well, so it gives you good experience working around professional players. I could go that over the summer, and also local non-league, especially when I'm home in August, and when I come over back to Lincoln, working with sport. But I think also I need to take my way away from sport, learn to record other stories, because I feel like getting interviews for sports stories are a lot easier, because you always have a pre-match and a post-match interview, whereas with other stories you don't. So you have to work your own interview. So that's something I've definitely going to have to work on. But I think overall I have enjoyed, definitely have enjoyed this term's module.